Ms. Gwebu, thanks very much for your time. Just tell us more about this seemingly advanced pilot's license that is required by SAA within a particular time frame.
The airline transport pilot license is the highest qualification that you can receive, that you can be in possession of in terms of pilots. And this, for you to be able to obtain this license, depending on whether you're flying a fixed-wing aircraft or you're flying a helicopter pilot license, you're flying a helicopter, you would need to have at least 1,500 hours attached to that, and that is accompanied with some of the examinations that you would have to write within the CAA. But whilst you are in possession of this license, there are also other training that you have to go through to make sure that you are proficient as a pilot. So in this particular instance, SAA as an operator would have additional requirements that they would put for their pilots. And those requirements would be included in their manual of procedures, or at least what they call the Flight Operations Manual. And in this particular instance, the 5 years is applicable only in the case of SAA, and that is basically a measure that SAA has put in place. It's not something that the CAA, for instance, as a regulator, would have put in place. But from a qualifications point of view, the CAA requires you to meet certain qualifications and also standards before you are in receipt of an ATPL. That is how we call it in short.
So are you saying that you're not incredibly alarmed, given that this is something that SAA has put in place, that you're not particularly alarmed that William Chandler had been flying commercially for 20 years without it?
Firstly, I have to say that we have launched our own investigation. So we're looking at the records. We have looked at our own records of the pilot, and I can confirm that the pilot has got a commercial pilot license in terms of our records as the regulator, and we are the body that issues the license. So in terms of SAA, we are still conducting an investigation with them. They are cooperating with the process because we just want to find out what actually happened. And you are absolutely correct. We are greatly, greatly concerned that for this number of years, nobody has picked this up from the operator's side, because what seems to have been happening here, Michelle, is that the pilot would have taken what we have issued to them, which is a commercial pilot license, and would then have changed those documents to give an impression to the operator that they are actually in possession of an ATP. But we do believe that the system should have picked this up by now, and therefore we are investigating the matter with the operator to find out what systems do they have in place that would not have allowed them the opportunity to pick up a gross misrepresentation of facts like this one.
Ms. Gwebu, are you saying, if I understand you correctly, that there must have been some kind of fraudulent activity in terms of the documentation that this pilot had for him to have escaped under the radar for so long?
I can tell you what we have as a fact. The fact is that from our side, this particular pilot has got a commercial pilot license, not an ATPL. So what the pilot would have done in the meantime between our processes and that of the operator is something that we are investigating. And unfortunately, I don't want to make a pronouncement on something that we don't have factual information on. All I can confirm at this point is that our records point to the fact that this is a qualified commercial pilot license, but they are not yet an ATPL license holder.
And just in terms of what you know so far, what might the sanctions here be against William Chandler?
From a CAA point of view, because this is a person who's in possession of our license, so he's therefore a client of ours, and they have contravened our regulations. We are considering revoking the license of this person permanently. That's one of the, and secondly, we can also charge him with some penalties which are financial in nature. And thirdly, we believe that there's fraud committed here, and therefore there is a consideration to report the matter to the SAPS for further investigation and further prosecution.
So it's incredibly serious. Thanks very much for your time.